Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're feeling extra grateful today, and thought we'd share something really special with you guys. It's a deep dive into this project that's really captured our attention. The Liat Show. I'm already fascinated by this creator, Liat Portal, and how she's blending storytelling with insights into Israeli culture and music and history, all sorts of things.
It's truly a unique approach. Leah describes herself as a kind of architect, but instead of buildings, she's constructing narratives.
I love that.
This idea of narrative architecture really highlights how she thoughtfully designs her stories, carefully choosing each element to create this captivating whole.
And speaking of being thankful, I'm so grateful for creators like Liat who bring such creativity and passion into the world. It's a reminder that there are always new ways to learn and experience things. What about you? What are you feeling grateful for today?
Oh, so many things, but especially for those moments of discovery when you stumble upon something that just sparks your curiosity and makes you see the world in a new light. The Liat Show definitely does that for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to hear how the idea for the Liat Show even came about. It's almost like a premonition. So Liat was updating her computer one day and was prompted to save a writing project. Imagine you're in her shoes, just going through the motions, and suddenly, without even thinking, you type in the Liat Show as the file name.
And what's fascinating is that she didn't even know what it meant at the time. It was like the name just popped into her head from out of nowhere, almost as if something was guiding her, planting a seed that would blossom later.
It gives me chills. It makes you wonder how often those intuitive nudges happen and whether we're paying attention. And then, as if the universe was confirming everything, on her very first day at a new job, her boss casually drops the phrase "the Liat Show" into a conversation, completely out of the blue. I mean, what are the chances?
It's like a scene from a movie. You almost wouldn't believe it if it wasn't a true story. And for Leah, it was a turning point. She couldn't ignore the signs any longer.
Right. It's like destiny was saying, pay attention. This is important. Okay, so we've got this incredible name, the Liat Show. But what exactly is it?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. It's constantly evolving. Sometimes it's a blog, sometimes it's a podcast, and she's even hinted at incorporating live performance elements.
Wow.
It's almost as if she's creating a new genre of storytelling altogether.
And that really speaks to her background. Speaking of interesting backgrounds, let's delve into Liat's personal story. We know her father was an architect, and she's mentioned that in a way she sees herself as an architect too. What do you make of that connection?
It's not just about the family connection, though that's certainly interesting. It's more about how Liat approaches storytelling. She's incredibly thoughtful and intentional about how she structures her narratives. Think of it like this. Every good story has a blueprint. There's a foundation of key ideas. Supporting elements like character development, plot twists, and all the details are carefully arranged to create this satisfying whole. That's what Liat does so well.
That makes so much sense. It's like she's building these intricate worlds with words, carefully selecting each element to create a captivating experience for her audience. And it seems like Liat is just as grateful for her audience as we are for her creativity. She sees them as co-creators, as partners in this journey of exploration and discovery.
Absolutely. She's constantly encouraging her listeners and readers to engage with her work, to share their thoughts and perspectives. And that brings us to something really exciting that Liat has planned: interactive games. She's hinted that these games will allow her audience to actively participate in shaping the narrative, which is a brilliant way to foster a sense of community and shared creation.
Wait, hold on. Interactive games. This is the first time hearing about this. I need more details. What do we know about these games? What kind of format are we talking about?
She's been a bit mysterious about the specifics, but she has said that the games will begin soon and will be integrated into her Substack. And knowing Liat, I'm sure they'll be as creative and engaging as everything else she does. If you want to be among the first to know when they launch, you can join the waiting list on her website.
Oh, we'll definitely be adding ourselves to that list.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about how this all began for Liat. It sounds like that moment when she named the file The Liat Show was a turning point. But what happened next? Did she immediately jump into making the show a reality?
Not exactly. It seems like she initially dismissed it as a passing thought, something she experienced during the pandemic when many people were exploring new hobbies. She even promised her mother she'd focus on getting a regular job and put the entrepreneurial dreams on hold.
That's so relatable. It's like that inner conflict we all face between following our passions and seeking stability. So what made her change her mind? What brought the Liat Show back into focus?
Well, she did get a job and was excited to be back in an office environment. Imagine you're Liat starting a new job, trying to settle into a routine. On her first day, she went for a walk with her new boss, just making small talk, nothing to do with work. And then out of nowhere, her boss casually mentions the Liat show.
You're kidding. I mean, what are the odds of that happening? It's like something out of a movie. What did Liat say? Was she freaked out?
She was definitely taken aback. She even wondered if her boss had somehow snooped on her computer. It was that unbelievable to her that he would say those exact words. When she asked him about it, he simply repeated the phrase, "It's the Liat show."
Wow, that sends chills down my spine. It's like the universe was screaming at her to pay attention, to embrace this idea that had been planted in her mind. Okay, so now I'm dying to know, what did she do next? Did she finally accept her calling and start building the Liat show?
That, my friend, is a story for part 2.
Oh, you can't leave us hanging like that. But all right, we'll respect the cliffhanger. I'm already hooked on this story and can't wait to hear what happens next.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Liat show. Before we left off, you were on the edge of your seat, wondering what Liat did after her boss unknowingly echoed the name of her secret project.
Right, it was like a scene from a movie. All those signs pointing her towards this path she hadn't even consciously chosen yet. So did she finally take the leap and start building the Liat show?
Well, she was still hesitant. It's understandable, isn't it? We've all had those moments where we're pulled in different directions, unsure of which path to take, especially when it comes to something as personal and vulnerable as creative work.
Absolutely. I mean, putting your heart and soul into a project and then putting it out there for the world to judge, that takes a lot of courage. So what was holding Liat back?
It seems like she was wrestling with that age-old dilemma, the desire for a normal life versus the pull of a creative calling. She had a good job, she was enjoying being back in an office setting, and she promised her mom she'd leave the entrepreneurial dreams behind. It's a familiar struggle for many of us, trying to balance practicality with passion.
It's like that saying, the road less traveled. It's often the more challenging path, but it can also lead to incredible rewards. So how did Liat navigate this crossroads? What helped her overcome her doubts?
Well, she remembered an old blog account she hadn't used in years. It was from a time when she was writing mostly about technology and startups, very different from the style and themes of the Liat show.
Wait, so she was already a writer before the Liat show. That makes so much sense. You can tell she has a natural talent for crafting words and weaving them into compelling narratives.
Yes, she definitely has a gift for storytelling. But even with her writing experience, she was still apprehensive about launching the Liat show directly. She worried about how people would react to this new direction, especially since her previous work was in a completely different genre.
That's so relatable. It's like when you've built a certain reputation and then you want to try something new, something outside your comfort zone. You wonder if people will accept you or if they'll just see you as that tech writer or whatever label you've been carrying.
Exactly. So instead of announcing the Liat show as a personal project, she decided to get creative. She started posting excerpts of her writing on her blog, but under the fiction or fantasy categories.
That's brilliant. It's like a soft launch, a way to test the waters and gauge people's reactions without revealing the true nature of the work. Kind of like how some musicians release songs under pseudonyms to see if the music connects with an audience before revealing their true identity.
Exactly. And she had a specific goal in mind. She wanted to reach at least 1,000 readers to get a sense of how people were responding to her writing. It was a bold goal, especially considering her blog had been dormant for years.
So how did she go about reaching that audience? I mean, it's one thing to have great content, but it's another thing to get it seen in today's crowded digital landscape.
She realized that to gain real visibility, she needed to get her work published in reputable publications. But this presented another hurdle. Her blog had been inactive for years, and her previous writing was focused on a very specific niche. She was basically starting over, but with the added pressure of her past success in a completely different field.
I can feel the tension building. It's like she's standing at the foot of a mountain knowing she needs to climb it, but unsure of the best path to the summit. So how did she approach this challenge?
She started by asking herself a really thought-provoking question. Is news entertainment? Now, you might be thinking, what does that have to do with anything? But for Liat, it was a crucial insight.
I'm intrigued. It seems like a simple question, but I can see how it could lead to some deep thinking about how we consume information and what captures our attention.
Right. And for Liat, this wasn't just an abstract idea. She was grappling with how to position the Liat show within the larger media landscape. Was it pure entertainment? Was it a form of journalism? Or was it something entirely new?
I'm starting to see where this is going. It's like she was searching for the secret formula, the key to unlocking an audience's interest and keeping them engaged. Yeah, that reminds me of something I'm really grateful for. Those creators who can take complex topics and make them accessible and entertaining. It's a real gift.
It is. And I'm especially grateful for creators like Liat who aren't afraid to experiment and push the boundaries of what's possible. Her willingness to blend genres and explore unexpected connections is truly inspiring.
Absolutely. Okay, so Leah's pondering this question about news and entertainment.
Right.
Where does that lead her? How does this help her find a home for the Leah show?
It leads her to a realization that changes everything. She understands that the Liat show isn't just about storytelling. It's about creating an experience, a journey for the audience. And that realization leads her to explore platforms that are specifically designed for building communities around shared interests and passions.
All right, I'm hooked. What kind of platform did she end up choosing?
Oh.
Don't leave me hanging.
Well, it just so happens that we have a bit of a personal connection to the platform that became the Liat Show's home.
Wait a minute, are you saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
Liat chose to launch the Liat Show on Substack, and we're so incredibly grateful that she did. It's a testament to the power of this platform to connect creators with their audiences in such a meaningful and sustainable way.
This is amazing. I love how everything is coming full circle. We're having this deep dive on our own Substack, and here she is building her own community on the same platform.
Exactly. And she's using Substack to share her writing, her podcast episodes, and even behind-the-scenes glimpses into her creative process. It's like she's inviting us into her world, allowing us to witness her journey of creativity and discovery.
And she's building a community of people who are just as curious and engaged as she is. People who appreciate her unique style of storytelling and her ability to weave together these fascinating threads of history, culture, and personal experience. It's truly inspiring to see her vision come to life.
It is. And speaking of her vision, let's talk about what makes Liat such a compelling storyteller. You mentioned her father was an architect, and she's described herself as a kind of architect too. What are your thoughts on that connection?
Well, it's clear she has a talent for building things.
Yeah.
But instead of bricks and mortar, she's using words and ideas.
Hmm.
It's like she's constructing these elaborate narratives with a deep understanding of how to create a strong foundation, support the structure with engaging details, and then top it off with a captivating finish.
You put it perfectly. She's not just throwing words on a page. She's carefully crafting each sentence, each paragraph, each story to create a specific effect. It's like she's leading us through a carefully designed maze, revealing new insights and perspectives along the way. And it's not just about the structure either. She also identifies as a storyteller, which brings a whole other layer to her work.
That's such a key distinction. It's not just about conveying information, it's about crafting an experience for the listener. It's like the difference between reading a textbook and listening to a captivating tale told around a campfire. One informs the other, transports you to another world.
Exactly. And with the Liat show, it feels like we're not just passive listeners, we're active participants in this unfolding narrative.
Right. It's like we're all on this journey together, exploring new ideas, discovering hidden connections, and expanding our understanding of the world.
And speaking of expanding our understanding, we haven't talked much about Liat's focus on Israeli culture. What are some of the key themes or insights she explores in her work?
Well, one thing that really stands out is how she weaves together personal anecdotes with broader cultural perspectives. She's not just giving us a dry history lesson, she's sharing her own experiences and observations, which makes it feel so much more intimate and relatable. It's like we're getting a glimpse into her world, her life in Israel. And through her eyes, we're seeing the culture in a whole new light. It's like traveling to a new country without ever leaving home.
Yes. And she doesn't shy away from the complexities of Israeli culture either. She explores the challenges, the contradictions, the beauty, and the resilience of a people who have faced so much adversity throughout history. It's a reminder that every culture is multifaceted and deserves to be explored with an open mind and a willingness to learn.
That's something I'm really grateful for, those opportunities to learn about different cultures and broaden my perspective. It's so enriching. And speaking of gratitude, I know Leah is incredibly passionate about supporting creators. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. She believes that creators play a vital role in society, and she's a strong advocate for supporting their work, not just financially, but also emotionally and creatively.
That's so important. It's one thing to appreciate art or writing or music, but it's another thing to actively support the people who create it. What are some ways we can do that?
There are so many ways you can subscribe to their work, share it with your friends, leave reviews, attend their events, and even just send them a message letting them know how much you appreciate what they do. Every little bit helps, and it all contributes to creating a more sustainable and supportive environment for creators.
Absolutely. And in the spirit of supporting creators, let's take a moment to express our gratitude for Liat and all the hard work she puts into the Liat show. She's giving us a gift with her storytelling, her insights, and her willingness to share her world with us.
I wholeheartedly agree. And speaking of gifts, remember those interactive games she's planning to launch? It seems like she's about to take her community engagement to a whole new level.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about the games. I'm so curious to see how she incorporates them into her Substack and how the audience will respond. I have a feeling this is just the beginning of something truly special.
I think you're right. And if you haven't joined the waiting list yet, now's the time. You won't want to miss out on this next chapter of The Liat Show.
You've convinced me. I'm heading over to her website right after this to add my name to the list. Now, before we move on to part 3, where we'll delve deeper into Liat's vision for the future of the Liat show and explore the themes of her work in more detail, I want to leave you with a question.
What are some of your favorite ways to support the creators and artists whose work you love? We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll be back soon with more from The Liat Show.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Liat show. We've been exploring Liat's journey as a creator, from that initial spark of inspiration to her decision to launch her project on Substack.
And along the way, we've uncovered some really insightful themes like the power of narrative architecture, the importance of community engagement, and the beauty of blending personal experiences with broader cultural perspectives.
It's been quite a journey so far, and we're just getting started. We've been teasing these mysterious interactive games that Liat has planned for her audience. I, for one, am incredibly curious to know more. What do we know so far?
Well, she's been pretty tight-lipped about the specifics, but we do know that they're coming soon and they'll be integrated into her Substack. Knowingly it, I'm sure she'll find a creative way to engage her audience and make them feel like they're truly a part of the storytelling process.
That's what I love about her approach. It's not just about passive consumption. It's about active participation and co-creation. It's like she's inviting us all to join her in this grand experiment to see where our collective imagination can take us.
Exactly. And I think that's where the real magic happens. When you bring people together, give them a shared purpose, and encourage them to contribute their unique perspectives, you create something truly special.
That makes me think about what we're celebrating today, Thanksgiving. It's a time for gratitude, for coming together with loved ones, and for appreciating all the good things in our lives.
And I think there's a beautiful parallel to what Liat's doing with the Liat show. She's creating a space for connection, for sharing stories, and for celebrating the human spirit.
I love that. It's like she's extending the Thanksgiving table to include people from all over the world, inviting us to share in her cultural heritage, her personal experiences, and her boundless creativity.
And what better way to express our gratitude for her generosity than by actively engaging with her work, participating in her games, and sharing her stories with others?
Absolutely. Speaking of sharing stories, we've touched on Liat's focus on Israeli culture, but we haven't delved into specifics yet. Can you give us a glimpse into some of the stories she shared?
Well, one story that really resonated with me was about the role of music in Israeli society. She talked about how music is more than just entertainment. It's a way of connecting with history, expressing identity, and building bridges across cultural divides.
That's so fascinating. It reminds me of how food can also be a powerful tool for bringing people together. Sharing ouya, experiencing new flavors, it creates a sense of intimacy and connection that transcends language barriers.
Exactly. And Liat has a knack for finding those universal themes that resonate with people from all walks of life. Whether she's talking about music, food, art, or history, she always manages to connect it back to the human experience in a way that feels both personal and profound.
And she does it with such passion and authenticity. You can tell she truly loves what she does, and that enthusiasm is contagious. It makes you want to learn more, to explore further, to dive deeper into the world she's created.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to her vision for the future of the Liat show. Where does she see this project going? What are her hopes and dreams for its impact?
Well, based on what we've learned so far, I have a feeling she sees it as a constantly evolving work in progress. She's not afraid to experiment, to push boundaries, and to challenge traditional notions of what storytelling can be.
And I think that's what makes her work so exciting and unpredictable. We never know what she'll come up with next, but we can be sure it will be thought-provoking, engaging, and deeply personal.
And who knows, maybe someday the Liat Show will become a global phenomenon, bringing people together from all corners of the world to celebrate the power of storytelling and the richness of human experience.
Wouldn't that be amazing? It's a vision worth striving for, and we're honored to be a part of Liat's journey, even in this small way.
Well said. And to all of you listening, we encourage you to join us on this journey of discovery. Head over to Liat's Substack, subscribe to her podcast, and get ready for an adventure that will challenge your thinking, spark your imagination, and leave you feeling deeply grateful for the power of storytelling. And that wraps up our deep dive into the Liat Show. We hope you enjoyed this exploration and that you'll join us again next time for another fascinating adventure. Until then, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.